I hadn't really seen a hard drug until my late 30s, and I had a combination of events transpire at the same time. My father died. My fiance left me. I thought I was going to get married, and I lost my apartment. And this all happened within about a 3-week time, and it was too much for me, and I lost it. And I guess I kind of gave up on things, and I left a friend's house one night. I was staying on his couch, and he had a park next door to where he was living. And in the park were gangbangers selling meth. I was looking for cocaine, I think. And I kept asking these guys, you have any cocaine? You have any cocaine? And they said, no, we got something better, Holmes. And so I said no 10 times, but that 11th offer, I said yes. And from the very first time I hit a meth pipe, I didn't not smoke meth for 3 years until I got arrested.
People don't understand what meth does. They don't understand the grip it gets on people, how easy it is, how sort of pernicious it is. People could even be functioning on meth for a while. Why does it take you to the streets? Why so quick to the streets on meth, smoking meth?
It was a performance enhancer before it was a crippling addiction. I mean, it definitely helped keep me up and helped me focus on things. But here's a really fascinating aspect of this. And I learned this in treatment one day. We were watching a video, and it was on something they call the hedonic scale. And this scale sort of measures somebody's pleasure throughout the course of the day. So you have Joe is going about the course of his day. It's a fine day. His number on the scale is 80. Now, if Joe's got a hot date with the woman of his dreams that night, his number is 100. But if Joe takes a hit off a meth pipe, that number is 1,200. So that's what you're dealing with. It's like a tremendous state of euphoria. And I found that in treatment, it's incredibly hard to get an addict to not want to experience 1,200 again. It was a conscious exercise of mine in the early stages of my recovery where I told myself, look, I got to be able to have fun watching a football game. I got to train myself again to enjoy normal things. And it was definitely a process and it was a discipline, but I got back to where, you know, I can enjoy the simple things. But yeah, for sure, it robs you of the ability to just have a normal day and you don't even feel well without it. I was stealing $900 a day worth of merchandise to support my habit. So that's definitely psychotic. That's very hard to dig yourself out of. And in the case of Tylor, I feel that's sort of very much the position that he's in. Like if he could think, you know, if he could get to a place where he's thinking with a clear head for a little bit, I think he would decide to go to treatment, right? And Tylor's just not in that place yet. And he's at a spot now where I'm not sure that he knows that he should be suffering. And that's just a dangerous place to be in.
Right. That's what meth does. It blocks the insight into what it has done to you. Fentanyl does the same thing. I suspect he's probably shipping on fentanyl also. You can't see what's happening to you. It actually has a name. It's called anosognosia. And in this state, that is privileged in the law. That is privileged in the law. So you, Shaun, you go try to help him. He runs away from treatment. Too bad, Shaun. That's just the way it goes. He's living his best life. Don't you understand that?
That's it, Dr. Drew. And in fact, you know, he's been taken in 2 times. There's been mental health crisis teams that have evaluated him and taken him into custody with an ambulance. And they're supposed to keep him. And after a couple of days, they just let him back out onto the street. The last time they did that, I heard it was because he passed a psych evaluation. So they might have to reassess what the psych evaluation is.
But Shaun, here's the way the psych evaluation goes. Do you want to kill yourself? Well, sometimes. You have a plan to kill yourself? No. You want to kill somebody else? No. Do you have a place to live? I have a tent. I have a tent on Fifth Avenue. Do you have a place to eat? Yeah, I can. They bring oranges around. I can panhandle, and I don't want to be here. That's it. That's a psych eval, and you have to let them go when they say that. It's insane. Or they could say, Shaun, I want to kill myself. I have a knife in my tent. I'm going to do it when I get there. And 5 minutes later say, you know what? I was just kidding. You have to let them go. That's how messed up the laws are in California. That's how messed up they are. And we used to have a condition called gravely disabled. You don't think he's gravely disabled, for God's sakes? We taken away gravely disabled as a condition to help people. It's effing
I didn't
nuts.
know that. If somebody was standing there with a gun pointed at their own head, ready to pull the trigger, we would definitely step in and intervene. And I don't think there's much of a difference between that and Tylor's situation right now.
There's no difference. There's no difference. One is negligent manslaughter or even negligent murder, and the other is active suicide. But guess what? Let me tell you again about the psych eval. If he takes that gun down from his head and hands it to the psychiatrist, and even says, I have access to guns whenever I want, but I don't want to kill myself anymore, they have to let them go. That's how insane it is in this. It's insane.